The United States government remains shut down for a second day. This comes after a series of Hail Mary attempts in the U.S. Senate to avoid this failed late Tuesday night. Now, hundreds of thousands of workers are either not working or aren't getting paid for their work. It's the second shutdown since 2018, and the path forward is unclear. Joining us now to break this down for us is John Mark Hansen, political science professor with the University of Chicago. Professor, thanks for being with us today.
Good morning. Hi.
All right, so break this down for us. How did the U.S. government let it get to this point?
We've been seeing these shutdowns periodically since the 1990s, and it's part of the polarization of the parties in Congress, where it's been very, very difficult to get agreement on almost anything. The Republicans in particular have tended to use the threat of a shutdown as a cudgel to try to force cuts on Democrats in the past. Here, the tables are reversed.
So, Professor, the blame game, we've seen it, as you mentioned, one side pointing fingers at the other. Is one more able to start moving this forward, or is it going to take a team effort to reverse the shutdown and get things going again?
Well, ultimately, they'll have to pass a budget because otherwise the shutdown will continue. And presumably that will happen. We've had very long shutdowns in the past, into a couple of weeks, I think. The longest one, I think, was during Trump's first administration, but there was also a very long one in the 1990s. So eventually they'll come to terms. It's kind of hard to see exactly where they will come to terms, but I think for now, the Democrats sort of feel like they have to take a stand. Their constituency expects it. And so far, I would say the polling actually favors the Democrats on this one.
All right, Professor, you mentioned, shutdowns have been happening in the United States for decades. They don't seem to happen in other countries. So is this a uniquely American phenomenon? And why do you think it keeps happening?
Well, most democratic countries have parliamentary systems rather than presidential systems the way that we do. And in parliamentary systems, if the governing party can't pass a budget, the government fails in their elections. So I think a lot of it is the separation of powers here in the United States. And there are particular traditions as well. There's also been shutdowns over the debt ceiling, or threats at least to not approve an increase in the debt ceiling. And that's a kind of self-inflicted sort of thing. But I think it's largely just the institutional makeup of American government.
And Professor, what are the biggest sticking points that are keeping the government shut down this time?
Well, the Democrats have decided to make a stand. They agreed in the spring to the Senate Democrats did to support a stopgap budget bill, and what has happened since then, of course, is that Donald Trump has basically just shut things down in the government, refused to spend money, and passed this one big beautiful bill with very, very deep cuts in social programs, and particularly in Medicare and Medicaid. And so the Democrats have decided that this would be a place to make a stand and to try to push back against some of the things that the Trump administration has been doing unilaterally.
Now, of course, there are very real-world impacts here. So let's talk about those, Professor. Who exactly is feeling the brunt of the shutdown right now?
Well, government workers certainly are feeling the brunt of the shutdown because they're not being paid. And Trump, furthermore, is threatening to go ahead and fire them. So in the past, at least, they've had the notion that, well, once this is all done, we'll get a paycheck at the end of it all. And maybe they still will get a paycheck at the end of it all, but at least he's threatening that some of them won't come back at all. So I would say that's probably where the primary pain is being felt, is exactly in that class of government workers who have been feeling a lot of pain already from what the Trump administration has been doing. The other things I would say are largely inconveniences at this moment, but could turn into more serious inconveniences. So TSA workers in airports are expected to report. They're essential workers. They're not being paid, but they are expected to report. In the past, they've stayed home, figuring, well, if I'm not going to be paid, I'm not going to work. And that will probably, I assume, occur again.
And Professor, do you think that we here in Canada may feel the consequences of the shutdown if it continues?
Well, I suppose in some minor ways, I would say the main thing that you in Canada will know is the frustration the Democrats feel that we have a president who is incapable of bargaining in good faith. His promises, his word, his promise don't mean anything. And so I think there's a good reason why the Democrats have refused to take the bait that's been offered by Senator Thune and the Republican leadership in the Senate. That once we get this budget passed, or once we approve this continuing resolution, well, then we can negotiate over the Medicare cuts or the Medicaid cuts. I don't think Democrats believe that, and I think it's for good reason, because even though Senator Thune and his team might be bargaining in good faith, the White House has shown that it will not.
Professor, thanks so much for your time today.